I can hear you. The man with the plan. We finally speak. How have you been?
Yeah, good, my friend. Good.
Oh
In
my
this
God.
crazy time, 2020.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But you're so lucky because you live in the most beautiful country in the world, man. I mean, when I came there the last time, oh my God, I didn't want to leave. I told you the other day. It
Yeah.
was something else. I
New
mean, the
Zealand is
mountains.
easily a really
Yeah.
wonderful country and it's incredibly safe. We're really contained. We've got control of the COVID pandemic, but we're not out of the woods because we're only as strong
Yeah,
as the weakest link, and the world is a disaster. So our
I
borders
know,
are
man.
closed, and I'm dying to
Oh,
come back to India.
your borders are closed? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, our borders are closed to particular countries and things like that.
Uh-huh. And the population is small, so it can be contained beautifully, and it's just nature everywhere and clean air, oxygen.
Well, and
It,
the talk of India as being
uh,
so bad. I mean, I lived in India.
really?
I went back and forth a lot,
Uh,
and it's not that bad. But maybe when I
yeah,
was in Mumbai by the sea,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and it was washing in and out. But I
So
love India. I mean,
when are you
the
coming
grass is
next?
always greener
Absolutely. When are you coming next? Any
when I
plans?
can, when
When
the
you can,
borders open.
we're gonna call you. We're gonna call you for some interesting events now very soon. Since we
What, you and I
already
back on the runway? That'll be great.
I
A
wish
couple of old
you can do
guys.
that. I can you can do that, but I got to think about it. So Colin, let me welcome you to the Be Conscious platform on Playscape. Airtel Delhi Half Marathon is a very special place to be uh, because I've been talking to the most interesting wellness and fashion and grooming experts from all parts, and the response has been fabulous. And I'm really glad to have you on board because, first of all, let me tell everyone, Colin is a Kiwi who's a very big star on TV. So I've known him for many years, and he's extremely successful. He's the face of tourism for Australia, for Tahiti, and for New Zealand. He is the brand ambassador for Lexus, which is, of course, everyone wants to own a Lexus car. And he also models for Schweppes. He's even done Versace. He's done a lot of work. And the guy doesn't believe in stopping. And why should he? Because look at the way he looks. 30 years in the business is still going strong. He came to India. He conquered the fashion industry. He did really well for himself. He walked the ramp. He did multiple fashion shoots for magazine covers, and he's gone back. I don't blame him because New Zealand is New Zealand. And so I'm going to ask you, Colin, about your journey. And you're still looking so good, touch wood. And how have you taken care of yourself? Because modeling, being a famous face, is it's a lot of hard work. So what are
Do
your
you know,
tips?
coming from New Zealand, I was born in New Zealand. I'm
Right.
of Indian ancestry, quite obviously. So
Yes.
when I started modeling, it was because the new faces it was a new brand, a new excitement. Ethnicity was all over the world. I think Madhu Sapri nearly won Miss Universe.
Yes.
The talk of the town, everyone around the world were looking for Indians because of that. And I was part of that new wave, myself and another model named Amisha Vaidya
Right.
here in New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
And then one of my photos ended up in Feminine magazine, which was inundated um, with fan mail. And then I was invited to
Wow.
go to India, and it was an incredible experience for me because the modeling in India is so different. All of you models in India were so cut, so
So,
fitness mad and everything. And
really,
and here I was eating all
right.
the gulab jamun and wanting spicy chai and everything. So, I
Right.
learned discipline in
Right.
India. I
Really?
learned, yeah, I started to, I took notice of how I was a lot more casual. And, when you're young, I was
Yeah.
throwing back the gin and tonics and having a blast in India.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
you guys were working out for 2 hours a day at the gym. And I was thinking, oh, well, that's different.
All right.
And then when you get older, our bodies
Right.
evolve and they
Yes.
change, and we
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
through different structures. And so one of the things that I was always mindful of,
Uh-huh.
which other models don't necessarily have success about, is
Okay.
change. That the only constant in life with our physicality
Yes.
is the evolution and change. We get older.
Yes.
I don't mind looking older, but I want to be the best I can possibly be at an age. So now
Absolutely.
I'm nearly 50 years old, and I just
Wow.
don't have that feeling of being old, because I feel, and I don't feel young, I feel strong, if that makes
Oh,
sense,
that
mentally
makes.
and physically.
Oh man, Colin, you're going to inspire a lot of people by your words. I love what you're saying. Please carry on. Awesome.
Yeah. So I think it's the same as you. I think that when you what you're doing is
Mhm.
creating a platform
Yes.
of a narrative when people don't talk about this, and we in the beauty industry that sell an image,
Mhm.
we're at the forefront of that. And when we change,
Yeah.
that is there's a difference
Yes.
to that, and the narrative that you bring is so
Mhm.
fantastic. So I'm celebrating you as well. Like, I just think
Thank
uh
you.
your exercising, your mentality, your the fact that you've opened this conversation where so many people slip down a rabbit hole of being confused about where they fit in and everything, when they don't just look at themselves and have self-acceptance.
Yes. Yes. Wow. That's a lovely. That's a very valid point. That's amazing. No, so you basically what you're saying is age is just a number, and you are actually walking the talk, which is wonderful. So you said you're nearly 50 years old and you've been in the industry for 30 years. Now, that's no mean feat. So that means there's a lot of mental muscle happening there. There's a lot of discipline. You obviously watch what you eat. And you obviously, if you're the face of a car like Lexus, and if you're going to be on New Zealand's Top Model, a show like New Zealand's Top Model, they obviously look at you. You're an icon. So tell us about your fitness and your diet and your sleep patterns and whatever else you want to share with us.
Okay, fitness.
Uh-huh.
Now, maybe 3 years ago, I went fitness crazy. I went into the gym. And that total mad motivation, and whether it was because I was about 45 years old, and I got an incredible physique, better than when I was a young man.
Wow,
But the problem was, I started to feel unwell. I was
really?
burning out. I was overdoing it. We can overdo it, and I thought to myself, I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want to be, So I made a conscious decision, again, knowing who I am, knowing that I'm not indestructible, to
Mhm.
to get into more genteel forms of exercise, such as long walks.
Okay.
I'm not going to break my pelvis or my knees by
Yes,
running. I
right.
just go for very brisk, long walks through New Zealand, which is wonderful.
Wow,
It's just every pathway, I let it be an adventure for my mind, my
absolutely.
thoughts,
Uh-huh.
and then my fitness, because you are engaging your entire body in a walk. And
Yes.
then when it comes to, let's talk about food, I have a
Mhm.
wonderful relationship with food. Eat,
I
I
see your
eat.
posts. I mean, they're very interesting. I love your
Yeah.
posts. I think everybody who's watching this show is got to follow Colin Jeffrey, because you're gonna see his lifestyle, and you're gonna see he eats what he wants to eat. But look at him, he takes care of himself. So that you have to compensate somewhere down the road.
Yeah, and I think like I'm bigger than I used to be, and I don't mind that, again, because your body, I can't have a 20-year-old body
Right.
anymore. But I I used to always be, when I first went to India, let's go back there. I was
Mhm.
so envious of all of you models. I
Oh,
remember you on the cover of the
yeah,
magazines, and you're
yeah,
so
right.
big and muscular, and I was
Yeah.
just skinny. I was very skinny. Now
Okay.
I'm that body that, we both share the same body structure,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really happy with that physical presence, you know, that very strong base
Yes.
body line.
Because you made
And
your
I grew
foundation
into
very
that.
strong. Yeah, your foundation's very strong.
Yeah, I used to, my God, in India, I would eat like a madman because the food, nothing of all the world, and I've lived all over the world, India is the best for food. Just, it is the
Really?
worst.
It's the
Because
best and the worst.
and
Well,
yeah, best and worst.
India's a diabetes capital of the world. So when you say it's the best and the worst, I totally agree with you.
But you know why? Because sugar is the biggest addiction, the most addictive product over cocaine, over anything. Sugar
Yes.
creates the body dysmorphia and the craziness that we all have. And if there's one
Absolutely.
thing I would say that I do
Mhm.
is I'm conscious of weaning myself off sugar.
Oh, that's awesome. That's the
Yeah,
first step.
I'm conscious of how much I don't mind fat,
Mhm.
but because your body metabolizes fat naturally.
Yes.
But when
Yes.
it comes to sugar, I mean, that's when I don't want to be diabetic.
Right.
You hear things like maybe it's in our Indian gene that we are susceptible. I don't necessarily believe that, but I just know that in our dietary food, like gulab
Yes.
jamun and sweet
Wait.
tea and all that,
It's a
it's
killer. It's a
addictive.
killer. Oh, absolutely. It's a
It's a
killer.
killer.
You just want more and more and more.
And when it comes to your third question to me was sleeping.
Mhm.
I love sleeping. So, but I'm an early bird. So I will wake up every morning around 5 a.m. I can't sleep in.
Really?
So I'll wake up and I'll meditate, and then I'll get up and have a cup of coffee and then start my day.
So that's
But
so that's your real message, everybody. So Colin, if you understand what he's saying, he wakes up. He's an early bird. He's in sync with nature. He wakes up at 5 in the morning and he meditates. That's awesome. I think that is something that's absolutely fabulous.
I
Awesome.
think what that does is it builds a foundation of a day, because life is chaotic. And it's
Absolutely.
all about someone else's chaos. And I don't choose to bring their chaos into my moments.
Right.
This is my moment in the sun. Sometimes we can't help it. You know,
Right.
the craziness of someone else or a situation will come your way.
Yes.
But for the most part, the strongest foundation I'll have is where I sit and where I stand mentally. It's like when the analogy is like an airplane, you know, when you're flying an airplane and they say that when the oxygen mask comes down, put it
Yes.
on yourself before you put
Yeah.
it on your child. So I'm like that. If the stronger foundation I'm on, the more chance I'm able to rescue you.
I love your metaphors. You're obviously very, very well
My
read.
bicycles.
I always see you, browsing through these very interesting magazines that people keep sending you, and of course, I love your posts with the food that you keep posting. Is very, very tempting. And tell me something. You were also judging the New Zealand's hottest baker, right? So what was that about? I saw your mags. I saw you on the cover of the magazine. It's really interesting. So what do they bake?
So I
Was it
was
like pastry baking or is it like healthy baking?
no. Healthy baking. I don't think there is such a thing as healthy baking.
There's nothing like healthy baking. Okay.
So this is how that rolled out. It was rather unfortunate for me because I was judging. I was the judge on New Zealand's Next Top Model, and I was a guest on America's Next Top Model. And then there was a show that was being auctioned out to presenters, and it was called New Zealand's Hottest Home Baker.
Oh, okay.
So a fun show with all these sort of sexy housewives making, bread and donuts and cakes and more cakes. And I got asked to go to the casting, and I said, no, I don't want to go because I don't want that kind of show.
Mhm.
I don't bake. I don't. It'd be silly. And my agent at that time said, I want you to go, Colin, because these are TV making people, and this is an opportunity. They've specially requested you.
Right.
And I was like,
wow.
so I thought, okay, I'll go in and do the casting. They had a lady there, and she'd made some ginger crunch, and I was having such a laugh with her, and they just said, you've got the show. It's your show.
And how many
And I was
ginger crunches did you have? How
yeah,
many did
and
you
I
have?
said to my agent, I don't want it, but I don't want it. And they said, which of course an agent would do that because it was all about money. They were
Right,
saying,
right.
you have to do it. You can't upset these people. So I did the show. I did 4 years of Hottest Home Baker.
Wow.
And yeah, and also I became the face of sugar in New Zealand.
No way.
So I was the branded face. And
Are you
in my
kidding?
contract, it said you're not allowed to talk negatively about sugar. And I could feel
My God.
how the sugar was affecting me. I had so much free sugar. Everywhere in New Zealand were huge billboards and banners of me going, eat sugar.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's really scary. So you
It's
finally what?
just
I mean, how did you wean out of the show, or did you just say
so I
stop?
got
Or what is
so
it?
I got given this book by a friend of mine for my birthday called Dry by Augustine Burroughs. And the book is basically about an alcoholic drug user who weans themselves off drugs and things like that. It's quite a funny book with a very sort of sad narrative story. I
Yeah.
thought that was fascinating to me because I said to my friend, do you think I'm an alcoholic drug addict? And he said, no. He said, but this is an interesting book. And
Right,
so
right.
that book actually taught me how to wean myself off sugar like
Really?
a drug addict would wean themselves off drugs.
Wow.
Because, yeah, it was,
But they
yeah.
say sugar is the biggest drug. It's the most addictive. It's like a
I'll
drug.
tell you a crazy moment I had. I was in my lounge
Mhm.
where I am now in my house. I was standing here and I just thought to myself, I have to be conscious of not less sugar, less sugar, less sugar.
Yes, yes.
And the next moment, I was standing in a bakery down the road from where I live, eating a cake. And I thought, how did I get from home to? And then I realized I'm really addicted to sugar
Oh my God.
because I was thinking about cake, and then all of a sudden I'm eating cake, and I don't really remember how I got from one to the other, which is
And how
a terrible
so it played on
thing
your
because it
mind.
was
Yeah, yeah. It played somewhere down in your subconscious, and you probably just reached the shop, like you just said, and you didn't know how you reached. That's awesome. That's a great example of how bad sugar is for the human body and the mind.
sugar in any addiction. And I think that what your narrative and your story and what you sell to people is about the power of the mind and everything. Be
Yes,
conscious to feed yourself
yes,
mentally and physically,
yes,
everything to better your moment.
yes. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's how youth comes. That's how not youth. That's how wellness
That's
presents on
yes,
your
on your face.
self, on your face. Yeah.
360-degree wellness is the way
Yeah.
you implement your thoughts. So tell me, what's the in New Zealand? You were judging the top model, New Zealand's top model, and then you were called to the US to do the same for America. So now that's a huge show. That's mega. So what's it like? I mean, what are the aspiring models like? How are the fitness levels? Do you guys push them to run or work out, or what's it like?
I think with a model competition,
Mhm.
the mad journey of that is to actually give them, this is reality TV we're talking about. So we
Right.
would give them scenarios to allow them to either win or fail. So
Okay.
which is terrible. This is the artifice of reality TV. So giving them an opportunity to eat enormous amounts of bad food
Right.
was available to them, and
Wow.
some would take it and others would work out and be well, and so that was what was interesting in those moments, to see the difference,
The way
because
they,
you've
yeah,
acted and you've worked
yeah,
in movies and television.
yeah.
The banquet kind of meals that we would all be presented with.
Right. Well, like super unhealthy, or both
Or
ways,
healthy.
or healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a pendulum. You either go the
Yeah.
healthy way or you go the unhealthy way. But that's a good
And
way
my
to
thing
us.
is I
Yeah.
do love healthy food. I do love like I mean, once you just experience delicious, organic,
Yep.
healthy
Yep.
options, it is addictive in
Of
its own
course.
world.
Okay. Fantastic. But tell me something. Let me tell everyone who's watching this capsule that Colin, I don't know, I'm sure most people have heard of Xena the Warrior Princess. I mean, I've seen Xena the Warrior Princess when I was young, and she was really hot and she was really fit. And Colin played the King of India in Xena Warrior Princess. Can you please tell us share your experiences where that's concerned?
Well, that show was funny because being, there's no such thing as the King of India. You know, that's the madness of it. But I got the casting and I got hired to be on the show, and
I
that
think
was
we,
an incredible
I think we lost
experience.
you for like a few seconds.
Oh,
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I cast for the show, which
Uh-huh.
was a surprise,
Right.
that I got asked to do it. But I was just saying beforehand, being the King of India, there's no such thing as the King of India. So
There's no such thing.
you're
Yeah,
presented
yeah.
a script like this, and you're like,
Right.
I'm trying to, because you're sitting with American executives and you're trying
Yeah.
to explain to them, uh, am I a kingdom? And they said, no, it's India. I'm like, oh, I see. Yeah. So then you just think, oh, I'll just roll with it. But
Right. Right.
you had to be, the king had to be fit. I had to horse ride. I had to
Yeah.
jump on and off horses and fight, and it was incredibly
I need you to send
taxing.
me. I need you to send me those episodes. I need to see them again.
I
No, I'm serious. I really
yeah.
want to see them. I'm going to put them on my TV and I'm going to watch it on the big screen.
I have a turban and I rip the
Oh,
turban off and I save Xena's life.
man.
She's actually a friend of mine. Lucy Lawless is a
Oh,
friend of mine.
she is. Oh my, what is she still acting now? Is she
We
still,
still act. She lives in America and she also lives here in New Zealand. She actually lives down the road from me.
he lives down the road? Seriously? Please tell her I'm a big fan. I watched her for many, many episodes, and she was fat. She was really strong. I mean, I'm sure she's still really strong, and
Yeah.
she looks great. And if she lives down the road, you lucky guy. Okay, all right. So she shuttles between the U.S. and New Zealand.
Yeah. So I don't know if she'd be, I mean, I don't think we can shuttle now, but
Yeah,
if I see her,
yeah.
I'll ask her to come on your show.
Oh, please do that. It would be my honor. And with you, I want you both to come on the show again. So we could have some funny moments together. You could tease each other and say what was. And I want to know the inside story.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh yes, you can.
So what made you,
Uh-huh.
go through this journey and then be in this position now to
Yeah.
create this conversation?
Oh, okay. Like you said, when we were modeling in those days, I was always crazy about fitness, and I started training when I was about 12 or 13. Got into martial arts, did for about 16 years. I got beaten the crap out of me by the tough guys, but nevertheless, it taught me a lot of discipline. And then one thing led to another. I think in my life was like I was crazy about muscles, and ever since I was a kid, I used to, see the muscle mags, and I used to love watching athletes, and was to wonder how do they have such amazing endurance levels, and they look so good and so youthful. And then you have the Mike Tysons of the world, the Bruce Lee. I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan, and that's what
Yes.
got me to martial arts. I mean, the whole world loves Bruce Lee. I mean, I was born the year he died, 1972, and my journey just went on and on. And like you said, I mean, you got to keep, doing what you love to do. So I love to work out, and looking good is serious business. It's not for the faint-hearted, as you
No.
know. Like you said, you made this crazy body, and then you started walking like crazy, and then how you beat your sugar rush days, and now you're
Mm.
back, look, and you're feeling stronger. So I always had this thing, as I grow older, I should get stronger. And then one thing led to another. I started Be Conscious, my wellness company, and now here I'm talking to you. And I got a call from uh, you know Procam International, that's handling the Airtel Delhi Half Marathon. They are the biggest sports event company in the country. And they said, would you like to be the influencer for this whole platform? And I said, of course, yes. So we had a couple of meetings and voila, here I am talking to you.
I just think it's so great. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you.
You'll never know
Yes.
whose lives you're saving.
Well,
Because
thank
there are
you.
people out there that are
Right.
having a moment, and you are the switch that is just going to save their lives. And that, I mean, I just really want people to know,
How nice.
and you to know particularly what a beautiful position you're in. And
thank you.
and it's
But Colin,
incredible.
you're saving the lives too, because you're on the show. The kind of things you've just spoken about are really inspiring. I mean, so whoever I get on the show, I've got one thing very clear in my mind, that they got to be people who can actually make that shift, who can make a difference to anyone who's listening in. And of course, you're one of them. I mean, the things you've said are fantastic.
Oh, that's so sweet to say, because
Yeah.
when you're living the story, you don't necessarily think that you're that interesting.
I agree. I agree. I go
So I just do my thing, and then I'm out, I drink champagne and I
right,
party, and
yeah,
but I also I'm very, very conscious to take time out, to be
yes,
private. I don't exploit my private life.
excellent.
And in that way, a journalist interviewed me a few years ago, and she said, of all, you were such a public figure, but
Yeah,
no one really knows a lot about you and your private life. It is very hidden. And I said, because it's no one's business but my own.
you're very guarded, which you have to be if you're a public figure. I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
People don't own me. They don't own my moments. They're mine. And what I give is a gift to
Yes,
others.
that's awesome. That it is. You're right. So tell us more about your best celeb Metro Awards.
Oh, well, that was funny. I was two things happened to me with that. There was a voting for the best dressed celebrity, and I won over socialites and
Right.
Real Housewives television show winners and everything. I was the clear winner.
Wow.
And as a guy, that was crazy. And then the other thing was the other thing. It's the image has switched to me now. Is that correct? I can
Exactly.
just see me.
Yeah. Oh.
And then
Yeah.
maybe I push that. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And then the other
That's
thing is
right.
I was named New Zealand's sexiest man.
Oh my God. Okay,
And
ladies, he's on my show right now. He's on my show.
that was
Okay.
a big shock as well. And something weird happened. Myself and the other person that won, the journalist called me up and said, "You're the first two ethnic people to be selected as." And I thought, what a strange thing to say to someone, because I thought I'm just a New Zealander, but to be centered as
yes.
and you're the first brownie to get it. I was like, oh, what?
That's amazing.
What if like it's so? It just shows you that the
that's a
world
huge
is
feather
still,
in your cap. That's a really big deal.
yeah.
I mean, New
But it's
Zealand's
also a
sexiest man.
weird, like I live in a contemporary world where I think that we're all equals, and then to be sort of, and then so that you're shifting the narrative to so that it's easier for the other people to come through.
Right. But you know what I like? What I like about the way you're speaking is that, and what I observed when I was in Queenstown and Christchurch, New Zealanders, even when I'm talking to you right now, you're always smiling. You've got a very happy look on your face. Touch wood. I mean, that's a blessing. And when we came there, we were there for a few days, and it was just so amazing because people are so friendly. And when my wife and me came back, we were like, we want to go back here every year. And unfortunately, we didn't, because we were walking in Queenstown and these beautiful mountains everywhere. And we had these people just coming up to us and they were saying, "Hi, how are you? And how are you today?" And it doesn't happen in many countries because and it didn't happen once, it happened every probably 100 meters. And then
Yeah.
there was an India-New Zealand cricket match going on. And
Yeah.
we all went to this pub, and there were a bunch of these, about 15 New Zealander, all the guys, they were having a guys' night out, and there's a huge screen, and India won. And
Yes.
they noticed a whole bunch of us. We were about 10 of us friends who went to New Zealand, and they came to us and they said, "Are you guys from India?" So we said yes, and they said, "Congratulations."
Yeah.
And imagine, we were like, I'm honestly, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this because we never experienced so much of, it's a sport, end of
Love.
the day. It's
Yeah.
love. And
It's
these
sport
guys were
and it's love,
drinking their
win and
beers,
lose.
and
Yeah.
nobody was aggressive. And you're in your country and you've lost to another country. That also India, and we were in the next table. So we said, "Uh-oh," we said, "Get ready for some." So,
Yeah.
but the opposite happened, and all of them congratulated us.
Yeah.
"Oh my God, you guys!" And we were like, "This is paradise. This is heaven." I mean,
It's
this is
like
the
that with like I was born in New Zealand. I'm 4 generations New
right.
Zealand.
4 generations. Wow.
And when India does anything amazing,
Yes.
whether it be fashion, sport,
Right.
technology, your space
Right.
program, anything, people contact me for an opinion, or people will stop me and say, "Wow, India did so well," and it's like I'm
Yes.
the ambassador of India or something. It's just,
That's
and I love it. I love it.
now I know
I'm
why you.
so
I know why you live there. It's amazing.
but I but I really connected to India when I went back because I
Yes.
thought
Yes.
I just was so excited to go back to the motherland, and I would always be so smiley and happy
Correct.
and in India in the modeling scene, which is in India is so competitive.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah. It
mean,
is.
I
It's
just
crazy.
wasn't sort of used to that scenario with
Right.
Arjun Rampal and all of them and how they would
Absolutely.
be, and I was just bouncing around, just happy to be there, having a
Right.
blast.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. But that's the thing. I
being a
think.
Kiwi.
Yeah, being a Kiwi.
Yeah,
So I think part of being conscious is also, as a traveler, when you do so much of traveling, and you get conscious of these small things that the citizens of that particular country, that approach they have towards you, and it just wants you to keep coming back. And I'm coming back.
I
I've
think
not
the
been to
trick
where you
is,
stay in Wellington, but I think next time we're coming to see you.
yeah, Auckland. I'm in Auckland.
Auckland, you're in Auckland. I'm so sorry. You're in Auckland.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah. You got to
so
come.
yeah, of course you must. I'd take you around, I'd show
Oh
you
man,
off.
of course.
Yeah,
Okay.
but but
Right.
when I was an international model. I lived around the world,
Yes.
and the thing is, the trick is
Uh-huh.
either you look for the best or you look for the worst, and
Right.
in anything. And so when you look for the best, it becomes the best, and everything is you should be polluted by all the wonders of the world, and
Uh-huh.
let that be the smile that you carry on
I
your
love it.
face and your soul and your heart. You know,
That's
I
right.
heard this thing about I don't want to be morbid or anything, but the ancient Egyptians,
Hmm.
when someone dies, when someone passes, what they said in their mythology
Yeah.
was that you would go to the god of the underworld,
Yeah.
and he would weigh your heart, and if your heart is light like a feather, then you
Right.
can pass on to the heavens. So when we are sad, our
Yes.
hearts
Yes.
become very heavy.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
also conscious, and all your listeners and yourself, be
Yes.
conscious of the your mouth might lie,
Yes.
your eyes might deceive you, but your heart will tell you how you are, whether it's light or heavy, and
Oh,
that's the situation you're in. So I'm conscious of my heart always being light.
Colin,
That makes sense.
you're very inclined to spirituality. You're very spiritual. Actually, you speak. There's a lot of depth in what you're saying. It's all right. Be conscious of what your heart is all about. I mean, I
Be
love the way
conscious of the
you.
lightness of your
Yes,
heart. Yeah.
yes, I love the example you gave of the Egyptians. It's fabulous. You do obviously do a lot of reading, a lot of soul searching. It's very evident now.
I think when you I accidentally
Mhm.
come upon these sort of conversations and narratives, and I
Right,
find them fascinating. You know,
absolutely.
I was when I was discovered to be a model, I was at university. So I was studying um, Hinduism,
Oh,
religions, anthropology, psychology, art history. So I was gravitating to basically feed myself with all the beauty of the world.
nice. So you've basically in your life, if I might put it in a nutshell, you have been conscious about your education, you've been conscious about your health, you've been conscious about your career, you've been conscious about your sleep, you've been conscious about your meditation, you've been conscious about your walking. I mean, I could go on and on. So I've got all these things now in my mind, what you've been saying, and you've been conscious about other people too. And you've been
Mm.
so basically you've I think you've come full circle in your life. I think that's what keeps you happy, and you're also being conscious about where you stay, which is New Zealand. So you're in a happy environment.
Do you
So
know? I'll say this: when I was in India, when I
right.
first went to India, I was living in Napier Road
Uh-huh.
in a penthouse.
Uh-huh. Lovely.
Incredible and very lucky situation to be in. But I was so lonely
Right.
because modeling is not you.
Yeah.
While Madhu Sapri was a really great friend and
Yes.
mentor, I didn't really Nina Manuel and that I didn't really make too many
Yes.
friends, and I
Yes. Yes.
wasn't used to the lifestyle,
Mhm.
so I was very homesick
I'm
for
sure.
because I was living in an ivory tower with a cook and a maid
Yes.
and a
Yeah.
and um and I just I think you learn. Like I remember going down, I went for a big walk and I went and found a Baskin Robbins and I sat there and I was having ice cream.
Hmm.
It's being a Kiwi and smiling at people. And I
Right.
remember this bunch of maybe college kids,
Yeah.
they were just staring at me
Then why is he
like,
smiling?
yeah, what, and who is he? You
Yeah.
know?
Right. Right.
But they were all, I could see they were all talking about me. And I thought, just say hello to me,
Yes.
And then I
Yes.
ate all my ice cream and left.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was
Well,
interesting,
that's happiness. Happiness shows on your face, and it's ingrained, I guess.
yeah.
So, Colin, I really want to thank you for coming on this platform. And you know what? I think this has been a very enlightening talk. And I hope to get you back on for many more shows. We are starting master classes very soon. And of course, I would love you to be part of it because I think there's so much you could, impart to people who want to stay happy. Like I said, you've come full circle. So I want to thank you once again. And of course, I'm going to send the recording, and it's going to be coming on Sunday. So it's going to be rushing to the tech team now, and they're going to be very excited. And I'm going to use whatever you said on the publicity platform. so,
Cool.
so thanks again, and King of India, King of Kiwi, take care. Say
Kia
hello to
Kiwis.
say hello to Zena, and
Yeah.
see you soon, buddy. I loved
Take
it.
care, my friend. See
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye, Colin. Thank
you
you.
later. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.